Not every Hollywood millionaire lives like royalty, and some of the richest stars actually live shockingly simple lives. In this video, we'll uncover the surprising stories of actors who choose modest lifestyles, from riding the subway to clipping coupons, proving that wealth doesn't always mean extravagance. Keanu Reeves. When you think of Keanu Reeves, you probably picture him as the star of massive blockbusters like The Matrix and John Wick. With a net worth estimated at hundreds of millions, you'd expect him to live in a mansion surrounded by flashy cars and endless luxury. But Keanu is famously different. Instead of flaunting his fortune, he often takes the subway in New York, sits quietly with strangers, and even gives up his seat to people who need it more. His clothes? Usually simple jeans and a t-shirt, nothing that screams millionaire. Beyond that, Keanu has given away huge portions of his earnings to crew members, charities, and people in need. There are countless stories of his generosity, like the time he gave stagehands on the Matrix motorcycles as a thank you, or the fact that he secretly funded children's hospitals without attaching his name. Despite all his wealth, Keanu lives in a modest home, avoids private jets when possible, and keeps his lifestyle grounded. Many fans call him the internet's favorite boyfriend, not because of his movies, but because he feels like an ordinary guy who just happens to be rich and famous. Jennifer Lawrence. Now let's talk about Jennifer Lawrence, who may have won an Oscar and starred in billion-dollar franchises like The Hunger Games, but still doesn't buy into Hollywood's obsession with luxury. She's openly admitted that she clips coupons and actually enjoys shopping at thrift stores. While many stars love showing off exotic cars, Jennifer has been seen driving modest vehicles like a Volkswagen and a Chevy. Even when she became one of the highest-paid actresses in the world, she kept her down-to-earth lifestyle, saying she doesn't see the point in wasting money on things she doesn't need. She's joked in interviews about how she doesn't fit in with the glamorous celebrity lifestyle, and honestly, that's what makes fans adore her even more. Whether it's being spotted at the grocery store in casual clothes or keeping her home life private and simple, Jennifer reminds us that even A-listers can value normalcy. Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, known for playing the Hulk in the Marvel Universe, is another actor who doesn't let fame define how he lives. While his superhero alter ego might smash through cities, Mark prefers something much quieter: life on a farm. He lives with his family in a peaceful countryside setting where he spends much of his time gardening, growing vegetables, and enjoying the outdoors. He's never been interested in sports cars or extravagant mansions. Instead, his priority is spending time with his family and staying connected to the earth. Fans often mention that when he's not on set, he's happiest in dirty jeans with his hands in the soil, far away from the flashing lights of Hollywood events. In interviews, he's admitted that fame and fortune can feel overwhelming, so the farm provides him balance and a way to stay grounded. For someone who could easily live in luxury, Ruffalo's decision to step away from the glamour shows that simplicity often brings the most peace.
With shoulder pads so squeezed in.
Beautiful.
You know, that whole, that was the corset, that was the high collar, it was the whole, yes, I'm wearing a corset when I take off, and that.
Sarah Jessica Parker. When people hear the name Sarah Jessica Parker, they immediately think of her iconic role as Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City, a character known for high fashion, expensive shoes, and a glamorous Manhattan lifestyle. But in real life, Sarah Jessica Parker couldn't be more different. Despite her success and wealth, she has often chosen to raise her children with a very down-to-earth approach. For example, she's openly said that her kids wear hand-me-downs and second-hand clothes instead of designer labels. At home, she prefers to cook rather than constantly dining at luxury restaurants. She and her husband, actor Matthew Broderick, have explained that they value financial discipline over flashy spending. Sarah has said in interviews that she grew up with very little money, and that upbringing left a lasting impression on her. So even though she could easily live the glamorous life that her on-screen character did, she chooses family-focused, humble routines instead. It's almost ironic that the woman who embodied luxury fashion on screen is so practical and grounded when the cameras aren't rolling. Elijah Wood. Next on the list is Elijah Wood, best known as Frodo Baggins from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Those movies alone made him a household name and earned him a fortune, but Elijah has always resisted the celebrity lifestyle. Instead of buying a massive mansion in Los Angeles like many of his peers, he bought a modest home in Austin, Texas. He's also a passionate vinyl collector, spending his money on rare records instead of flashy toys or high-end cars. Elijah is frequently seen doing normal, everyday activities like shopping at local stores and hanging out at cafes, blending right in with regular people. Fans often say that he seems happiest when he's living a quiet, creative life, rather than chasing luxury. For someone who played one of the most iconic roles in modern cinema, Elijah remains refreshingly approachable and normal, proving that fame doesn't have to change your lifestyle if you don't let it. Zooey Deschanel. Zooey Deschanel, the quirky star of New Girl and countless romantic comedies, is another Hollywood millionaire who doesn't live like one. Her frugal habits were revealed publicly during her divorce, when court documents showed that she keeps a careful budget, prioritizes savings, and lives far below her means. She reportedly spends far less than most celebrities, choosing to save for the future and focus on long-term financial security. Instead of splurging on luxury clothes or parties, she prefers modest spending habits and a simple life. Zooey once said that she's more interested in building stability than trying to impress people with wealth. It's unusual in Hollywood, where overspending and excess are often seen as the norm, but that's exactly what makes her stand out. She may have the money to buy almost anything, but she chooses to live carefully and modestly, proving that financial responsibility is just as glamorous in its own way.
Moved to the side 3 feet, and I was like, okay. And he face first over this bar and did a flip. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen somebody
Tobey Maguire. Of course, we can't forget Tobey Maguire, the original Spider-Man for an entire generation of moviegoers. With the success of the Spider-Man films, Tobey became extremely wealthy. But unlike many actors who spend their fortunes on exotic cars and luxury homes, Tobey is known for being frugal and disciplined. He's often described as someone who avoids unnecessary spending and prefers a quiet family life. While other stars from his era got caught up in the Hollywood party scene, Tobey went the opposite direction, choosing privacy and simplicity. Friends say he's always been financially careful, making smart investments rather than blowing his money. Even though he played a superhero on screen, his real-life superpower might just be his ability to live modestly in a world that constantly pushes extravagance. Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell, known for Frozen and The Good Place, has no problem admitting that she loves using coupons. In fact, she proudly once told Ellen DeGeneres that she uses coupons to save money on groceries, even though she earns millions of dollars a year. She and her husband, actor Dax Shepard, also shocked people when they revealed they spent less than $150 on their wedding. Kristen even wore a simple $45 dress to a Hollywood Awards event, proving she doesn't need luxury fashion to feel confident. She's been open about how she hates wasting money, and instead prefers to spend it on experiences with her family or charitable causes. Kristen is a reminder that being frugal doesn't mean being boring. It means being smart, and her fans love her all the more for her honesty and humility.
No. I've been gone for 4 years, and LA's a big city. We'll be fine.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Now let's talk about one of the biggest stars in the world, Leonardo DiCaprio. With decades of blockbuster films under his belt and one of the highest net worths in Hollywood, you might expect him to live like a king. But while Leonardo does enjoy success, he actually chooses a relatively modest lifestyle compared to many of his peers. He drives hybrid cars like the Toyota Prius and has lived in homes that are far less extravagant than other A-list celebrities. More importantly, he's an environmental activist who believes that living modestly is part of protecting the planet. He's often criticized Hollywood's obsession with overconsumption and instead puts his focus on eco-friendly living. Sure, he's still a major star, but his values push him toward simplicity and sustainability rather than constant luxury. For someone at his level of fame, it's striking to see how he lives with purpose rather than excess. Tori Spelling. Tori Spelling, the daughter of television mogul Aaron Spelling, grew up in one of the wealthiest families in Hollywood. You'd think that kind of background would lead to an extravagant life, but Tori has surprised everyone by living quite modestly as an adult. She has often been open about shopping at thrift stores and focusing on simple family spending rather than chasing endless designer goods. Even though she had access to wealth from a very young age, she's chosen to embrace a lifestyle that prioritizes practicality. Her fans often say this makes her more relatable because she doesn't act entitled to wealth, even though she could have easily leaned into the glitzy world she grew up around. Finally, let's look at Matthew McConaughey, who may be one of the most laid-back stars in Hollywood. Despite winning an Oscar and starring in blockbuster films, McConaughey famously lived in a trailer, or more specifically an Airstream, for years. Instead of investing in a giant mansion right away, he chose the freedom of living on the road, traveling around the country, and enjoying a minimalistic lifestyle. Even after achieving incredible success, he said that he loves the simplicity of camping, traveling, and being surrounded by nature. While he now owns a home with his family, he's never given up that camper-at-heart mentality, proving that happiness doesn't always come from square footage or expensive furniture. Anyways, from Oscar winners to action heroes, these stars prove that you don't need to live lavishly just because you're rich. They remind us that wealth is measured in more than material possessions, and that simplicity can often bring more happiness than excess. So, which of these actors surprised you the most with their humble lifestyle? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more stories from Hollywood that you won't believe.